welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Star Guardian, and this is chapter 2, Leaving Home. So let's get started. Chapter 2, Leaving Home. I returned home late one afternoon to find several official-looking vehicles parked outside my home. The entrance was open, and there were a number of strangers inside. One of the strangers, wearing a uniform I did not recognize, blocked my entry. "My name is Brian. I live here," I stated calmly and without a hint of emotion. I learned long ago to dial down my human side when dealing with other teens. It made me appear volatile or disrespectful. Underneath, I was anxious. I took a slow breath to center myself. The being signaled another, who came out and walked with me a short distance from the entrance. "What happened?" I asked. He took out a hand scanner from his uniform and confirmed my identity before speaking. "Your mother is dead," he said, straining to look up at my face. I did not respond immediately. My intuition told me my next response was critical. Do not smile or do anything that could be seen as admission of guilt. Do not get angry or upset. This could suggest I might become aggressive. My responses are being recorded as evidence. I took another breath and let it out. I kept my arms near my sides. No big gestures that could be misunderstood. So far, so good. He was not preparing to apprehend or subdue me. I may be bigger, but I was unarmed. No need to compound things. "Can you tell me what happened?" "Initial evidence shows that she killed herself earlier this afternoon." "I see." I had known this was a possibility for some time. It wasn't a shock to me. Sometimes I was hoping for it. She was a mass of negativity and despair. Nothing I did could help. At least now she was at peace. She has not been happy as long as I can remember. While I was processing this information, another uniformed being, this one a female, came over and stood beside me quietly. I did not have anything more to say, really. I was mentally going over the last interactions I had with my mother. I'm pretty sure the vid recordings will confirm that I did not say or do anything to push her over the edge. They don't have anything on me, or they would be treating me differently. The female reached up to put her hand on my shoulder. Was she trying to show empathy with me? I tried to calm myself further and focused on neutral thoughts in case she was trying to read me in some way. "It's not every day you lose your parent. I don't want to break down in front of strangers. Tears are definitely not Tien. There would be a time for that later. I am Tien and I need to act like one." I took a breath and wiped my eyes on my sleeve. "Your mother left this for you," she said, passing me a note. I took a look at it, but it was written in English. I'd never really managed to learn to read that language, though. But I did not feel inclined to share this right now. I put the note in my pocket. I took another calming breath. "So, what happens now?" I asked her. The other being had backed off, leaving me in her care. As a minor, I figured she was assigned to my care. "Brian, I am from the Central Orphanage. As of today, your status has been updated to orphan. I will help you gather your possessions and relocate you to your new home. I have also contacted the scientists because your mother was a subject of their study. They suggested that human rituals involve burial of their dead. They would like to arrange a suitable ceremony and ask if this would be acceptable to you as next of kin." I nodded my agreement. By now I was pretty sure she had not picked up any of my inner thoughts. My secrets were safe. Within a short time, my mother finally left her self-imposed prison in a bio-container. Most of my life, I had rarely seen her step out of the entrance to our home. This event seemed both surreal and somehow important. I had a hard time getting it through. I felt numb. Shortly after, we gathered my things and left. The central orphanage was very nice. It was well staffed with qualified and caring beings. I had a room to myself, at least as good as the one I had before. The decor was fairly plain, like all Tian dwellings. I was perfectly happy with it, since I grew up Tian. They did have a slightly longer bed for me, which was a plus as I was starting to outgrow my last one. A couple of days later, I got to attend the funeral. It was a simple ceremony with a few of the scientists and some of my classmates in attendance. The scientists had provided a plot of land with a nice view of the mountains, and we laid her to rest there. I learned from the scientists that their study of about 15 cycles in duration was now concluded. They were moving on to something else, and they bid me farewell. I smiled. I had long ago made a list of all their names, and one day I planned to deal with them. I was not ready yet. I was still young, and I needed to plan it out carefully. After the funeral, I returned to the orphanage. Free from distractions, I applied myself to my studies. Over time, I took subjects more focused on a career involving space travel, including advanced astrophysics and navigation. Whatever subjects I selected, I excelled at. Clearly, I was on a mission. My mentors and the counselors at the orphanage saw me as a model citizen and a testament to their guardianship. Perhaps as a result of my good behavior, they did not interfere with my progress. They could take credit for my success or devote their time and energy to less well-adjusted beings in their care. I did not care what they did. I would not give them a reason to bother me. By now, I was able to use the system to my advantage and find out what I needed without their help. I added some training in weapons and unarmed combat to my schedule. Tians were fairly peaceful, but I knew I'd need them sometime in the future. At the early age of 18 cycles, I had all the prerequisites, and I expressed my intention to go for training and certification as a shuttle pilot. This was when I first noticed a reaction. I was invited to an office for a meeting. "Brian, are you sure this is a wise move?" my so-called career counselor asked me. At this point in my life, I still needed the approval of a guardian. "It is what I want to do. I've completed all the prerequisite subjects. I've met all the entrance criteria," I responded. "I had hoped you'd choose something different," she said. "It is in my career plan that I prepared 2 cycles ago, the one that you reviewed." I was getting red in the face. She had noticed my reaction and seemed anxious. How could she about-face and shoot me down now? Was she under orders to keep me grounded? I took a deep breath. I did not want her to use my emotions against me and get labeled as irrational or unstable. "How about some courses in applied physics? I'm sure you will find them more suitable." She was some piece of work. I was fantasizing about doing some serious injury to her, but I could not show anything. Not here, not now. "It is what I want to do," I repeated calmly. "How about we see if I get accepted for shuttle pilot training? If not, I will meet with you to discuss alternatives then." I was calm, but firm in my resolve. We both knew I would be top of the list for acceptances. Besides, I had already sent in my application. If she blocked such an ideal candidate, she would have to explain her actions to someone, and I was very close to adding her name to my list at this point. A couple of days later, I got an acceptance response. My so-called career counselor was not happy at all, but I was now beyond her reach. I could care less for her, and I knew to prune back any interacting with her in the future. I was done with her. I could not see any logic in interactions with a being that was of no benefit to me. It turned out that was the last time we met. Perhaps she had the same assessment. I took to shuttle pilot training like a duck to water. I was motivated and exceptionally keen for a Tien. I completed my shuttle pilot certification with near perfect scores. I had my first vocational qualification. I immediately signed up for shuttle assignments. There was plenty of demand for qualified shuttle pilots. Tien Prime is a hub in this part of space, and lots of vessels would arrive in orbit and need cargo and personnel moved. I encountered no further resistance, and I had a job to keep me busy. I was a productive member of Tien society. From then on, I spent more of my time piloting a shuttle into orbit and delivering cargo and personnel to vessels that were visiting Tien Prime. I got to look down on the planet of my birth and see it in all its glory. Actually, I saw how small Tien Prime was in comparison to the galaxy. It was quite the paradigm shift. As a child, you look up to your elders, but now I look down on them all. I looked down and I was not impressed. I met beings from other starfaring races, either aboard their vessels while loading cargo, or planetside at the central spaceport. I knew some of their languages from my earlier studies, but I soon reached the limitations of my knowledge. Fortunately, they almost all spoke Tien. I was one of the youngest shuttle pilots, looked kind of weird for a Tien, and I was passionate / less reserved for a Tien. I became popular for the first time in my life. Planetside, no one questioned my choices anymore, or perhaps it was that I did not need to get some being's approval. I was calm, rational, and unemotional. I performed a needed role as a pilot. I gave all the right responses, ensuring no justification for anyone to interfere with my life. I was a perfect Tien, with a career ahead of me. My experience in space gave me a calm confidence that few would be able to disturb. The day arrived, and I celebrated my birthday of 20 cycles. I had reached the Tien age of maturity. This day my status changed from orphan / ward of the state to adult Tien. I was free to move out from the orphanage, to pursue a career, or do anything I wanted. I had no family to tie me here. It was time for me to move on. As a citizen of a spacefaring race, there were multiple opportunities to travel the stars. There was, of course, the Tien military and scientific exploration vessels, and commercial passenger and freight transport. Based on my experience as a shuttle pilot, I decided to try out as crew aboard a cargo freighter. It would take me away from here, and I would get to see the galaxy. There was a freighter I had contact with before, the Apollo Na, from the Ori Confederation. The Ori were marginally taller than me, so they were significantly taller than Tiens. I was reasonably proficient with their language by now. I calmed the captain and asked for an interview at the central spaceport. I arrived at the offices of the Ori Confederation at the spaceport. It was a bit more luxurious to me than I was used to. Tien buildings were mostly Spartan. I already felt a little out of my comfort zone. My previous experience with Ori was loading cargo into the hold of their ships. In comparison to Tien decor, This felt pompous to me. I walked up to the desk in the entrance area and announced myself to a female Ori seated there. "Hello, my name is Brian, and I have a meeting with Captain Jego of the Apollo Na," I said. I tried to keep calm, like the Tian I was. "Welcome, Brian, to the Ori Confederation," she said with a smile in perfect Tian. Except Tians never smile. "Just so you know, these offices are sovereign territory of the Ori Confederation. Our scanners checked your ID as you entered. I have approved your visa for the duration of your visit today. Please follow the floor lighting to the meeting room down the hall on the right." Whoa, I'm no longer on Tian territory? I kept a calm face, nodded, and proceeded as directed. A lot of buildings had these kind of floor lights, which helped you find the right place to go. I entered the meeting room, the door closing behind me. There were 2 Ori beings seated at a large table. The wall on one side was a huge window with a view of the spaceport outside. The one on the left I recognized as Captain Jego, having met him before. They both stood and greeted me. "Welcome, Brian," said Captain Jego in Ori. "You know me, of course, and this is Trade Ambassador Wallach. He is in charge of these offices and represents the Ori Confederation in trade and diplomatic relations with the Tian Federation." By now I felt a little overwhelmed. I expected to meet the captain only. I nodded. I did not know what a polite Ori response was. They seemed to overlook that. We sat down at the table. "Brian, the captain asked me to join him in meeting you today. I hope you don't mind, but I have some concerns I'd like to address," said Warlock. Like the captain, he had a warm smile and seemed genuine enough. "But what concerns?" "Ambassador Warlock, it is kind of you to take time out of your schedule to meet with me. Please ask away." I responded in my best Ori. I tried to project calm, radiate the absence of issues. One thing my late mother taught me was good manners. "Brian, you are Tian by birth, but you are not genetically Tian." "Correct, sir. My mother and father were from a planet of a primitive non-space-faring race. My mother was brought here before I was born." "And I understand that until recently you were a ward of the state, but you are now past the age of maturity," he asked. "Correct again. I reached the age of 20 cycles about 1 lunar cycle ago. Is that an issue, sir?" I maintained the calm face, the unfathomable nothingness that was characteristic of Tians. Inside I was confused and waiting for the shoe to drop. "No, I was getting to that. According to your ID, your credentials are impeccable. You have no criminal record, and best of all, the captain here vouches for your polite attitude and shuttle piloting skills." He looked over at the captain, and they both smiled. Life aboard a freighter is a long one, and not a decision to take lightly. It is not glamorous. The freighter becomes your home, your workplace, your family. It takes a certain type of person to fit that lifestyle. "I think I understand. I would still like to apply," I said. "And there is the question of why the Ori Confederation. You could apply to work aboard a Tian freighter." "Correct, sir. I could apply to a Tian freighter. Perhaps I would be more comfortable with a Tian crew, but I don't want to settle for comfortable. I have been up in orbit, seen the stars, I have met beings from other races, and I want to stretch myself out of my comfort zone. I think it will make me a better being. I do this of my own free will, and I consider myself to be of sound mind and body." I hoped that would settle it. It was the most Ori I had spoken ever. I had put in lots of extra time on brushing up on my Ori for this. I had prepared for several questions, and this was one of them. Captain Jago smiled at me. For most applicants, I would check with their parents that an applicant has thought it all through, that there is no ulterior motive for leaving Tien Prime. I contacted your former orphanage. Would you like to know their comments? Ambassador Wallach looked at me. I nodded. They suggested I decline your application. Their opinion is you might be more suited to a career closer to home. He said I was going to add some more names to my list. I had trusted those beings. The ambassador continued before I had a chance to blow a fuse. Brian, since you are of a maturity, their comments hold less weight. I do take the word of my captain highly. On behalf of the Ori Confederation, if you are still of a mind to apply to join the crew of the Apollo Na, I will not block your application. I nodded, smiling for once. Captain, it is your decision, he said to Captain Jego. Brian, welcome to the crew of the Apollo Na. Reporting 2 days for medical and departure thereafter, said the captain. The ambassador punched a few things on a tablet. As of now, your visitor visa has been extended to a work visa. All Ori Confederation vessels are sovereign territory, and your ID chip will now grant you access to work aboard them. I left the expiry date open, so if or when you decide you have had enough, the captain can arrange to take care of things. Also, if you work past 5 cycles, you're eligible for citizenship in the Ori Confederation. It is entirely optional, but I'd recommend it. Our long and peaceful status with the Tien Federation allows for dual citizenship. Captain, please update the food dispensers aboard to recognize his unique genetic profile so that his first meal aboard does not kill him. Yes, of course, Mr. Ambassador, said the captain. The meeting broke up after that, and I returned home. I went and took a last look at the place where Mother was buried. Then I packed my few belongings and 2 days later reported to the spaceport. I got off the transit at Central Spaceport and proceeded towards the offices of the Ori Confederation. But before I made it to the entrance, I was intercepted by Spaceport security. He insisted I come with him. What could I do? He was wearing a uniform, body armor, and was armed. I was a law-abiding citizen and always had a cautious, if not sincere, respect for law enforcement. I forced myself to remain calm and accompanied him to the spaceport security offices. I was taken to an interview room. It was Spartan, even by Tien standards. There was a table and 2 chairs, all firmly fixed to the floor. There were no windows, and just the one door. I sat in a chair and waited. Inside, I was frustrated and annoyed. I was so close to leaving this stupid little planet and moving on. Outside, I kept my mask firmly in place. For certain, this room was being monitored. I would not let myself be tripped up at this point. Eventually, another Tien security officer came in. He sat down in the chair opposite me. Brian, do you know why you are here? He asked. Stay calm. This is likely just the beginning. No, sir. Your security officer who apprehended me did not see fit to inform me, I responded. I think that was a breach of protocol for the officer. Could you please tell me the purpose of your visit to the spaceport today? He asked. Is he trying to trick me into revealing something? I'm not doing anything wrong. Yes, sir. I have an appointment at the offices of the Ori Confederation. I signed on as crew on the Apollo Na, and I leave today. Is there an issue, sir? I kept it calm and very polite. You cannot leave. Your name is on a no-fly order. I almost lost it then. Someone had it in for me. I didn't know who or what I could do about it. I don't understand. I've been working out of here as a shuttle pilot for almost a cycle, and I've not had any trouble before. Please check your records. I have completed all the necessary applications. As a citizen, I should be entitled to go, I said. I was finding it increasingly hard to keep my calm. I have checked. My orders are to hold you here and inform command. I expect they will send someone to collect you shortly. Understood, sir. Please may I inform the Ori Confederation that I will not be able to meet with them as planned? I was running out of options. Was I a Tien citizen or not? No, but I will see to it that a message is sent. He then left the room. In my mind, I was contemplating various ways of breaking out of here, disabling the officers who saw fit to detain me, and making it out of the spaceport. In all the scenarios I considered, I did not make it. Too many checkpoints that would block me. The Ori Confederation would also not want to hire a criminal either. I did not like it, but the right thing to do was wait. I waited for what seemed to be a very long time before my boredom was disturbed by the sound of voices outside the room. Soon after, the Ori ambassador and another Ori entered the room, followed by the security officer. It suddenly seemed crowded in this little room. "Come with me, Brian, we are leaving," said the ambassador as he extended his arm toward me. I got up to leave. The security officer started to object. The other Ori, whom I had not met before, blocked the security officer. "Officer, the ambassador here is under a diplomatic passport and is outside the jurisdiction of your authority, as per the Ori-Tien Diplomatic Treaty, Section 47-3. The being here known as Brian is an employee in the personnel of the ambassador, and for all intents and purposes is a de facto citizen of the Ori Confederation, and covered under the same diplomatic treaty and protocols governing said beings under a diplomatic passport. Any interference will be in direct contravention with aforesaid treaty and protocols. If you intend to continue to turn this into an interstellar incident, I will have to have your identification and rank for the inquest. I will also need a copy of all vid recordings since Brian was brought in and detained for the inquest, of course. Please keep in mind that if your government does not support your claim that you are following orders, the penalties can be rather extreme." I had never before met a lawyer, and I was impressed. The security officer had, though, and he backed off quickly. We were soon out of their offices and moved quickly across the spaceport to the offices of the Ori Confederation. While we were walking, the ambassador tapped on his tablet. Once inside the entrance, we slowed our pace. "I have updated your credentials to match that of what my lawyer said to the security officer. It should be enough to get you through the spaceport and aboard the freighter. I don't know why, but someone on your planet really does not want you to leave. I don't know what may happen in the future if you step foot on Tien territory," said the ambassador. It was a rare occasion that I was actually smiling. I was escaping the planet of my birth, that I was a citizen of. The being who was helping me was a foreign diplomat, and yet I trusted him more than all of the beings I had known on Tien Prime. I felt overwhelmed with trepidation and relief. I sat, or more correctly, I fell into a chair. This was another surreal moment in my life. I was beginning to feel the shakes coming on when I was handed a drink. I took a sip at first, and after I decided it was safe, I took a long drink. They had kept me in that room so long, I was both hungry and thirsty. It tasted kind of sweet, and within a short moment I began to feel better. "Thank you," I said, in the direction the drink had come from. By now I was surrounded by several Ori, all showing concern. After growing up with Tiens, their expressions were obvious to me. If they were Tien beings, I would feel uncomfortable, as such expressions are never shown. But since I had come to know a bit about Ori, they all felt genuine to me. In my entire life, Only my mother had been so open with expressions of emotions. It felt both a bit overwhelming and nice. "We are behind schedule. If you are feeling better, please come this way," said the ambassador. Next on the agenda is a medical screening. This is standard procedure when going aboard a vessel to make sure you don't bring any planet-side germs with you. It was mostly automated using scanners and such. My ID chip was updated, and then I was immediately taken aboard an Ori shuttle and traveling to the Apollo Na in orbit. In my haste, I didn't even get to say goodbye to the ambassador. That concludes Chapter 2. And next episode, we have Chapter 3, Life Aboard a Freighter. Brian makes new friends, and they visit the trading post. So, hope to see you then. Until then, goodbye.